Do you want to breathe?
Then save the trees!
Hello, we are students in Chateauguay Grade 8. We got aware of this because last year our class went on a walk in the park, the Collège Fernand-Séguin, and learned about the indoor soccer field and the houses they're planning to build after they cut down all the trees.
This year we watched the movie Home, which talked about how we are polluting our planet and how it's affecting us. We went to Mount St. Gregoire at the beginning of the year and went for a hike. While we were hiking, we learned that there are only 500 butternut trees left because of disease going around the butternut population.
Did you know that 593 people, 90% of them chose to keep the forest?
We will be talking about ecological niche, habitat, human impact.
So now we go to Darcy, Austin, and Stephen to learn about the habitat.
Habitat.
A habitat is an environment where species live. Several different animals can live in the same habitat. When an animal is in its habitat, it can reproduce, adapt to its environment, and find shelter.
Hi, we're here in the Centre Fernand-Séguin Ecology Center to talk about the animals that live in this habitat. The animals that live in this habitat are owls, plenty different sorts of birds, there's snakes, non-venomous ones, they're pretty small. There's lots of different sorts of squirrels that live in this habitat.
This is a ladybug.
This is a woodpecker.
This is a snow owl.
The habitats existing at this time of the year are swamps, high grass, dead organisms, and they have lots of plants and trees for habitats. And animals, when they need to hibernate or something, they have dead trees, and dead trees can form habitats. Dead organisms. Dead trees formed together can form habitats for animals to live in during the winter.
The trees in this ecology center are maple trees, pine trees, conifers, poison ivy, spruce trees, and there's many different sorts of flowers.
So all in all, this project is to help people remember that these resources, these habitats that these animals live in are important, and that we must remind them that they must be careful to walk on the paths and spread the message all over the schools.
So basically a habitat is where living organisms live.
So now we go to Savannah, Virginia, Jessica, and Avery so they can talk to you about the ecological niche.
Ecological niche.
What is an ecological niche? An ecological niche is the environment of a species, also its diet and its cycle of activity. Every living species has an ecological niche. An ecological niche is almost everything in our lives.
What would happen if we all had the same ecological niche?
Some animals have the same ecological niche, but they don't fight for food because one is nocturnal and the other is diurnal. Like some owls and some snakes eat mice, but they don't fight for the food because an owl is awake during the night and a snake is asleep at night, so it doesn't disturb any of their ecological niches. But if all animals had the same ecological niche, they would run out of food because 1.8 million species would be feeding off the same thing, and other things would overpopulate. Like the bears at Lutzik are coming out of the forest because they don't have any food.
Why is an ecological niche important to us?
An ecological niche is important to us because it's what we eat and what we live in and our shelter. It's a really big part of our life, and it's like everything.
What's the difference between ecological niche and a habitat?
A habitat is where a living organism lives. An ecological niche is also where a living organism lives, but also where a species finds food, where they find shelter, where they raise their young. It's also a role that they play in the environment.
What can you find in an ecological niche? In an ecological niche, you would find the organism things it needs to survive. For example, a sunflower's ecological niche is a source of water, sun, soil, insects for pollination, and space to grow.